All right, well, welcome to the 6th annual UC Davis Plant Science Symposium. This is part of the DuPont Pioneer Plant Science Symposium series that takes place at 12 universities across the US, and there's even one in France, if I'm correct. So this is, the title sponsor is Pioneer. We have a lot of other sponsors that we'd like to thank that have put on this event, the California Wheat Association, the UC Davis Plant Sciences Department, the Plant Breeding Center here at UC Davis, and then we have sponsors for our food that will be shown when you get to receive the food. Our first speaker here is our main liaison from Pioneer. His name is Tabare Abadie, and he has been working in plant breeding for over 35 years. He's been at Pioneer for 14, living in Iowa. Before that, he was in Uruguay, working as a professor, doing plant breeding in wheat. And he received his master's and PhD from the University of Minnesota, and then did a postdoc at UC Davis. So he's coming back to a city that he likes. So without further ado, please welcome Taba to the stage.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you very much, and welcome everybody. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here. And as usual, this introduction is a little bit for you guys to know a background on the series and context and what do we want to do with the series, and also I would say an update on what has happened during the last year. And there has been some changes in the series that I think I am pleased to share with you here. So our general objectives, are to contribute to education, and we think that this series is an opportunity for outreach, not only outreach, within the university, but also an opportunity for the university to open doors and to receive people from outside university in general. There are some events that have been very, very popular with farmers in certain regions. So I think that we are expanding that component of outreach with the series. And another important objective is to provide opportunities to students to get exposed to career opportunities, right? And so to begin thinking about what could be their career opportunities down the road, and when they enter the workforce for good. So a little bit of a description of the series and what we try to do with the events. Essentially, it is an effort to engage the future scientists directly. A lot of times I am asked, who are your faculty contacts? And in a lot of universities, we do have faculty contacts, but in other places, we just connect directly with the students. And I think that is a credit for the university system in general, that empowers students to actually drive things on their own. And for us, it's a great opportunity to build those connections while they are still students. So the characteristics of the series is they are, all the events in the series are fully student run. Again, it's an educational experience. We think that students learn a lot from the process in terms of organization, risk management, budget management, etc. The students select the topic and the speakers, and that is, we have been trying to keep that very faithful to the spirit, in which we do not give many limits or any limit at all. I would say, on what topic do the students select for their events. We assume that the students, though, are inviting people or organizing an event that that is geared to discuss present and relevant science, right? And So, and relevant is a very vague definition. We assume that they have to find out what is relevant for them. And that's why we have been having a lot of diversity on the series, and that's very, very good. And the other component that we also have been trying to keep as faithful as possible is that it is of free participation, right? I mean, so in almost everywhere it is, these events are free. There are some places in which, we have discussed, the numbers of registrants are very, very high, and the students are a little bit concerned about how to manage, when things get into the hundreds, and so, but so far we have been able to keep it free for everybody. So I want to share with you a few of the dimensions that we want to achieve with this series, right? And one dimension is we want to generate a global forum, right? I mean, a forum that reaches across geographies without borders in a way, and gives opportunities for students around the world to have this kind of experience too. So this idea, was originally generated at the University of Minnesota, and Rex Bernardo is here. He was the one that sent an invitation to Pioneer to support the series in Minnesota, and we agreed with them to do it for 3 years. And we did, and it was a very, very successful event. Every year, the event was becoming larger and larger and larger, and it was obviously becoming a very good experience. And after 3 years with Minnesota, we discussed with the students and said, well, what if we take the same idea somewhere else, right? And as a proof of concept, we took it to Madison, not that far away, really, but the students traveled back and forth and helped each other. And it went very well in Madison. So, the year after, we began expanding in the US, and, and then we took it international too. And we have one of the organizers of Onheim, or one of the Onheim Symposia here too. So, these things are really becoming, interactive, and people going back and forth. And so we kept growing until this is what we have this year. So essentially, we think it's a great idea, and actually students all around the world in different conditions and situations can actually get together and organize events like this. And so a lot of people keep asking me, where do you want to go with this? And I said, well, I don't know. I mean, while I have energy, I would like to give this opportunity to as many organizing groups of students around the world as possible. And, and indeed, we have, this last year, we're incorporating 10 new events in the series. And we have more requesting being members of the series. And so it is exciting, right? I mean, that the idea is being spread horizontally, and students around the world are trying to join the series in this way. So we are hoping that, some of the gaps that we have here in geography might be covered in the near future, giving opportunities from other regions in Latin America and Eastern Europe, and in some other places in Africa to participate too. So with this, the other dimension that we want to cover with this is the dimension of student participation, and how do we, enable the students to participate on building the series and discussing the objectives of the series, and getting sure that we are all tuned in what we want from the series, and that we are all trying to get the same experience around the world. And so once in a while, at least twice a year, we have either a face-to-face meeting with organizers, or, and some obviously join online on the phone. And we discuss general organizing topics of the series, and how do we manage certain things. We have tried to implement certain things as a group, and in some cases we succeeded, in other cases we failed, right? So, but we are learning as a group which are the which are the limits of what we can do together when we are putting together a series that is so global, right? I mean, for example, the component of communication is one that, you know, we have been having to do a lot of tune-ups along the years. And but one thing that has been a real success has been of student exchange. All the events now run student exchange programs, inviting students from other parts of the country, and even in some cases from the world, talks or share posters on the events, and to have the opportunity to learn, you know, by participating on the event of the other group directly on how to improve their own series at their home universities. Another dimension that is an important dimension is the dimension of expanding ideas. And we obviously started this with plant breeding, and that was the name of the series at the beginning. It was the plant breeding series. And we decided to change it to plant sciences to be more inclusive and to give opportunities for other topics to begin to be part of the larger of the series. And indeed, we are seeing an expansion in terms of topics, and you know, students are exploring new opportunities and bringing and building connections with other areas of the plant sciences, which I think are very good and give us the opportunity, and you know, to open our minds and be a little bit more open-minded in the way that we see breeding and that we see the sciences in general. So each of the events have their own web page, and but we have a repository of web pages that is a centralized web page. It's a very simple repository of web pages that is run by my group in Pioneer. This is not a marketing page or anything like that. I mean, it's just a repository, and is open to everybody to actually see. And you know, it's a little bit of a way for us to get sure that everybody that wants to follow the series a long time can actually find a place where they can have, let's say, the official web pages of the different events. Another thing that we have been doing is we have been trying to build a database on all the events that have been happening during the last 10 years. And you know, this is something that is in the process now. You know, we are building this database, and the idea about this is to begin to do some analysis and even some research, right? And in terms of, you know, understanding the community, understanding that the students are actually seeking themselves. There has been a lot of studies about, you know, asking experts what would be the right topic to, you know, in the area of plant breeding or in the areas of plant sciences. I think that this is a different way of looking at things. I mean, it's just a different way because it's just a huge sample that have been selected by students in all the cases. So in a way, they should represent of the larger community of students around the world too. So we are in the process of that. Another area that we have been trying to find out is we've been trying to map all the connections that have been built with the series. And this map here with all these lines represent the connections, and each university has a different color here, and this is only the North America ones. Of course, we now have a much global network of connections, and you know, I think it's going to be interesting to see if different regions see things in a different way, and how much we have been able to facilitate communication across regions. One thing that is very noticeable by looking at this is the contribution of Davis, right? And I think I am very proud to say that Davis has been one of the groups that has been, you know, that one could say that has a real global vocation, right? I mean, Davis has been inviting people from around the world more frequently than other events in North America, and for that we are very thankful. I think that you guys have enriched our series, and you know, I think it is a testament also of the vocation of this university. So again, this database is going to be available for everybody to analyze it, and we are going to post it on the cloud, and make it available for people to actually do, you know, do research on that. With that, I would like to thank the organizers for this event, and again, it's an honor and a pleasure to be here in Davis, and I'm sure that you guys are going to enjoy a great event, and we are looking forward to hear from you what you have to say about the future of this, and how can we improve this series in the future. Thank you very much.